From family events to volunteer opportunities to community happenings, there is a lot going on in your community. Learn about all the possibilities and opportunities on this episode of Community Hotline.
Hi, and welcome to Community Hotline. My name is Monica Weitzel. We're here in Gresham at MetroEast Community Media. Community Hotline talks with nonprofits in your area about all the good work that they're doing. And once in a while we have a nonprofit that actually reaches out internationally. And tonight I'd like to introduce you to a couple of gentlemen from Framework International. With us tonight we have Seth Prickett, who is the founder and executive director. Thanks for being here, Seth.
Thank you.
And Ryan Brown, the creative director of Framework International.
Thanks for having us.
So, Seth, let me start with you. You're the founder. Tell me, first of all, just a little bit about what the mission is of Framework International.
So we, essentially we build public schools in Ghana, primary schools. It's we have a pretty good partnership worked out with the government. We provide the building, and they provide the teachers.
Sounds like a good plan.
So it's, we act as the general contractors and do the construction, kind of cut out any of the middlemen, and are able to do it at a fraction of the price.
Wonderful.
So, yeah.
So, and how did this all begin? I mean, you don't just wake up one morning and go, I think I'll build a house. Build a school in Ghana. Yeah. So, what was the motivation to do this?
Well, when I was at Linfield College,
Mm-hmm.
we had a study abroad program where 15 students went to Ghana for a month and took a history course throughout the tour. It was called History of Modern Ghana, and it studied the country from 1957 when it gained independence from Britain up to current day. And a group of us had just seen how far a dollar goes over there.
Mm-hmm.
And
a bit further than here, I guess.
Yeah. And we wanted to do something. We wanted to give back to the community that had been hosting us. And happened to be driving past a school in the neighborhood of our tour guide, and we're just appalled at the conditions.
What were the conditions? What did the school look like?
Well, I kind of grew up out in the country a bit, and I wouldn't even put animals in the structure.
Not even like a barn.
No, it was somewhat like a lean-to with sheets missing from the roof, no walls. It looked like it would collapse at any moment. And in fact, it did collapse a few months after we had pledged to build a new school. So,
wow.
Yeah.
And Ryan, how did you come on board with this? Were you in that group that went to Ghana?
No, I actually worked with another member of the organization that went to Ghana with Seth to scout out new locations for schools, and she actually asked me to help out with some of the branding and some of the design work, because at that moment we were still coming up with a name for the organization, and so we wanted to create an identity along with that and look at a website, some of the other marketing materials. So I kind of got involved doing that, doing the branding, and then doing stuff like website and other promotional materials. And then I got more involved in the organization, and just thought it's a really great cause, and it's kind of an easy sell because you can really see the before and after, and really stretch our dollars here and do something pretty amazing over there. So
you didn't just get a job out of it. You actually bought into the whole mission and the whole concept of it.
I mean, one of the things he showed me, the before and after pictures. I kind of got in when they had finished their first school, and I was just kind of blown away at like the difference. And like you said, it's like a structure not fit for livestock, let alone like children.
Well, maybe we should take a look at some of those pictures now, and maybe we can go through them, and you can tell us what we're looking at.
Oh, there it is.
Well, okay, let's start here. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming this top picture is the before picture.
Yeah, that is the school in its condition when we first saw it.
Wow.
And then you can see the transformation to what it is.
So that's
what
what
it
you
is
built.
today.
That's
yeah.
what you built there on the bottom.
So it's a
that's amazing.
6 classroom, so class 1 through 6, equivalent to our elementary schools.
Right.
With a headmaster's office in the middle.
Great. That looks wonderful. Okay, now what are we looking at here?
So this picture is a group of us went over in 2010 and broke ground on our second school, which is in the village of Small London.
Small London, yes.
And you can see the chief is there in the kind of bright orange shirt.
Okay.
He told us the story of how Small London was named. I guess in the 50s, a gentleman from Britain had been motoring through the area. At that time, the roads are not very good now,
Yeah,
but
they were
then
probably
it
even
was
worse then.
even worse. And he got stuck in the mud in his Range Rover, and all these people came from the village and helped him, get it out. And he told the story about how this had happened to him earlier that month when he was in Britain, in London. And so the chief said, "Oh well, this is just Small London." And so from there on out, the name of the village is Small London.
Small London.
Yeah.
And that's probably where the similarities end.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
true.
guessing.
Yeah,
I'm kind
yeah.
of guessing. So how long has this organization been going on? How long have you, since you actually started it?
Well, we've been working and raising money since 2004,
okay.
but we hadn't become an official 501c3 until early 2009.
Okay.
2008 is when we kind of got together and decided to make it a
actual
professional nonprofit.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, isn't it?
Yeah.
And really, it's kind of a small group of volunteers, and we don't see any of the money that comes in through the donations. All of it goes right to Framework. So, yeah, I think we're really invested in it, but it's a lot of work.
Wow, I think we've got some other pictures we should take a look at so we can see some of the work that you've been doing. So maybe they can bring those pictures up, because that showed the school as it was finished. What is this we're looking at here?
So this is again at the groundbreaking. Those are children from Small London. They will be the beneficiaries of the school.
So this school is still being built, or has it started?
It has. The construction is finished.
Okay.
And actually today we installed the whiteboards in the
wow.
classrooms.
Cool.
And the desks will be moved in later next week.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, and these are more of the kids.
More of the kids.
Are they excited about having their school?
It's amazing, because here, you talk about going to school and the kids are always like, "Oh, I don't want to go to school," or "I want to stay home." And you start talking about bringing a school to their community in Small London, and everybody is just so excited. And
Wow.
I think part of it is that they won't have to walk miles to get to their.
Because how far was it for them to go to the nearest school?
It was about 2 miles,
yeah.
which is.
It's doable, but
it's doable, but in the African sun, and there'll be kind of torrential downpours, and so it's not exactly easy.
Well, yes, it is Small London after all. I did read that the girls have a more difficult time staying in school because they're needed at home.
Right.
That's kind of the custom for the girls to stay at home. So this will be a benefit to them. Is that right?
Especially for them, and we picked. The site, which was donated by the chief, is right across the street from the town, so it's just a stone's throw away.
Okay.
A lot of times girls will be called back to the house to help get things ready for dinner, or to help clean up, and the closer they are to the home, the more likely it is that they'll be able to go to school
and get the education they need. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So what was the biggest challenge in starting this whole nonprofit and doing this? What's been your biggest hurdle to overcome?
You know, I think it's time. It's the time it takes to do it.
Yeah, do you both have other jobs outside of this?
Right. Yeah. There's 4 of us on the board, all kind of in our early 30s, and we all have jobs.
You all have lives.
We all have lives outside of
framework.
this. We don't have any paid staff, and so it's kind of just finding the time to get to organize and then to raise the money.
Sure.
Well, and I think too, like I had never, started a nonprofit or took on some of the roles that, we each took on in the organization. So, there's a little bit of a learning curve.
I'm sure there's a huge learning curve.
And, I think another challenge is, we're an organization to help people out in Africa. And sometimes when you say, I work for this thing, can you donate to the children in Africa? People kind of just glaze over and they're just reminded of these, this helpless people that, that they've already seen before on the TV, and they kind of, maybe don't want to think about that, or,
people don't want to be reminded.
Yeah, but I think, that's why I think that's a challenge, but I also think it's an opportunity, because then we can really talk about, that we're really focused, it's about schools and education and like children that aren't hopeless, that they are well off, that there's a foundation, and we're just kind of building that up.
That's great. It is a good opportunity to educate people and for them to see how much can be done with just a tiny bit of money. Yeah. Okay, well, let's look at some of these other pictures. So I think we have some more, and I know you brought some great pictures of the kids. They look excited, okay, now this is
big kids.
So that's me. We're building the first school.
You got right in there, huh?
Yeah. And this was quite a sight for the locals to see, a foreigner doing manual labor.
Really? That was something new for them, huh?
Not something they get to see very often.
That's probably a good thing.
And that's part of our, this is the second school. This is our new school. We're, looking over they just finished putting in the window wells there. Part of it is we want to go and do part of the work. I think it's important for us to share that connection with the community, and to let them know that we're not just invested financially, but we really do care enough to come and do the work.
And what is this?
That's the new school in Small London. This is taken a few months ago before we had painted it and had the windows. And this is the first school. The first school we were able to build for around $22,000.
Wow. I'd like to see that happen here.
You're right.
Never.
Small London, years later, they have a number of different factors, including inflation.
Right.
But this one was about $35,000.
Still,
but
that's pretty impressive. And who is this?
That's me.
Oh,
with
that's you. Yeah.
Some of the children from the community. They're always excited to see new people and always excited to get their picture taken. So
yeah, they like that.
Yeah, we came back with amazing photos.
Oh, that's great.
And this is the school teachers and the head mistress at the first school. We brought some paper and pens, pencils, just some classroom supplies.
Basic supplies, sure.
And they were ecstatic to get those.
Were. Okay, now what are we looking at here?
So every morning before school starts, all the classes line up. They sing the national anthem. They have a couple of other different songs that they sing, and they rotate those, and then they march into their classrooms.
And they have uniforms.
Yes. And this school, the first school, is actually now, it's not just in the mornings that they do this. They have a morning and an afternoon shift because there's so many kids that want to go. It's now servicing about 800 students in the community.
A lot of kids.
So, that's just testament to the need.
Wow. So the need is great.
Yeah.
The need is great.
And this is, I'm teaching a class about about the different seasons that we have in the United States.
They don't have.
They have the
one season.
They have the dry season and the
and
wet
wet
season.
Okay.
So these are more students in the first school, which is in Amanfru, which is kind of a suburb of the capital city, Accra. It's kind of, I would equate it to like a
Right.
Forest Grove or
okay.
or a Fairview, you know, kind of a
Okay.
smaller
Yeah.
suburb.
That's,
And
that's,
again,
that's just an amazing difference between the two. I can't even imagine sending my kids to that first school.
yeah.
That's great. That's great. So tell me a little bit about the relationships you formed with the people there, like the teachers and the chief. And I mean, do you feel like there's a friendship there, or is it an uncomfortable relationship? How does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have one person over there in particular that we should really have, say thanks to. His name's Charles Abaca. He was my guide the very first time when I went over in college.
Linfield.
And
yeah.
we have kept in contact, and he really kind of manages the day-to-day in country.
Wonderful. Oh, that's great. So, but when you go back there, are the kids happy to see you? Do they
Yeah.
remember who you are?
They definitely remember, and you can hear them like whispering, "Oh, that's Mr. Seth."
Mr. Seth.
Yeah.
Is it Mr. Seth and Mr. Ryan?
Right.
Yeah, this was my first time over there in November. I could definitely feel when Seth walked into a room, everyone knew who he was. Everyone was going up to him, shaking his
He's
hand.
a rock star.
He was a rock star for sure.
That's great. Now you have an event coming up that's going to be a fundraiser. Tell me about that. Ryan?
Sure. Well, it's we had every summer we do a summer garden party, and we have live music and food, and we do it at the John Palmer House over on Mississippi.
North Mississippi.
And
Beautiful old home.
beautiful historic home.
Mansion.
Mansion.
Yeah.
And Amy Smith, who's also on the board, she has a connection with the people that own the property, and they actually lend it out for different nonprofits and other volunteer organizations to use. So we're really lucky and excited to get to have the event.
So that
this year
is in
again.
August?
Yeah,
Is that
it's August 19th.
Okay, in the afternoon.
Yeah, it'll be from 4 to 7.
Okay. If people are interested in attending, website, is that the best place to go?
Please go
Your
to
website?
frameworkinternational.org.
Okay.
We'll have a thing there on if you can check out what we're doing, and
Good.
it'll be kind of one of the headlines.
Good. I'm sure you could use any donations that you can get.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
What about volunteers? Do you have a need for volunteers?
We always want to expand our kind of base here in the area. So if anybody wants to help, whether it's just putting stamps on envelopes, or if anybody wants to go over to Ghana, we have a wide range of things that volunteers can do.
That would be a great experience, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Well, we're actually doing another trip out there this November. So I think there's definitely still time if you're interested to be a part of that
And when
trip.
is it again? It's in
November.
in November.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be going over scouting out locations for a third school.
A third school.
Yeah.
So you're just going to keep it going, huh? So just as long, and there's probably a huge need throughout Ghana, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't I don't
I mean,
feel
it's
like the
probably
need will ever.
unlimited, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. We actually just kind of discovered another organization in town that builds wells up in northern Ghana. So, it's really great to find other people in Portland supporting Ghana and making connections
Yeah.
there. So,
Yeah, get some partnerships going there between
yeah,
organizations. That might
exactly.
be a great deal. Anything else before we close that you want us to know about Framework International? Anything that our viewers should know?
well, we're also on Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook is probably
Okay.
the best place to keep up to date
On what's going on.
on what's going on.
Sure.
We post pictures regularly, let people know what's happening day to day.
Good. That's good. That's a good point. Okay. Well, if anybody's interested in learning more about Framework International, if they want to send a little message to Ryan or Seth here, go to their Facebook page or check out their website. All the information's there. And don't forget, on August 19th, they have their fundraiser, which is the Framework Annual Garden Party. And thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Seth, so much for being on here on Community Hotline. And please be sure to tune in next week. We'll be back with another episode. And thanks for watching. I'm Monica Weitzel. This is Community Hotline.